I just did this.
No, just because you were in that, so they don't. You don't like the camera angle?
Yes.
Okay. That's the issue. Hi, everyone. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Thanks for offering this resolution. Sorry, I didn't do that, but it's definitely appreciated.
And then to ask me to show the lady to do this.
Well, it's sort of, I think it's something maybe everyone might start. Because I get like, if I don't believe this, it's not really cool. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, let me do
This is the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which remains one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Supervisor Mustin.
Here.
Trustee Oppenheimer.
Here.
Trustee Pace.
Here.
Trustee Shack was not here, and trustee Spears.
Here. They haven't received any requests for remote attendance. No, don't know. Motion to approve minutes of May 12th, 2026 regular township board meeting and May 21st, 2026 special township board meeting.
Motion. Second. Ms. Libby?
If any comments or corrections to the minutes? Not?
Okay, Supervisor Mustin.
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now recessing the township board meeting, and the sewer meeting. Motion to approve the sewer bills for May 2026.
Motion. Second.
Any questions on those? Roll call, please.
Supervisor Mustin.
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Is there any old business?
Old business, smoke testing has finally been completed. We did not find anything major. We only had one clean out that needs a new cab. So that was good news. And I got new business.
Please go on to your business.
New business is I had a major problem with the Lake Avenue pumping station where a check valve for the station went bad, taking out both of our pumps. Say, but it was a week till Monday. Called Metropolitan Pump. They came out. We installed a spare pump at the lift station. So the station's up and running. With that, it also, with the check valve going out and taking out both the pumps, and also took out the control panel for those pumps. So Metropolitan is in the process of right now giving me quotes for a new control panel and seeing if they can salvage one or both of the pumps. One of the pumps is completely gone, but they think they might, between the two of them, make another one. If they can't, I will have to buy 2 new pumps to go along with the station.
And price wise,
Price wise from, I want to say, the last pump that we bought. I said it was roughly $20,000 a pump. And maybe it's interesting.
So what's happening now with both pumps being,
With the controller out and both pumps out, we had to sit there, install the new pump, and then we had to put a temporary float system in to keep so the system will operate on a float system.
okay, so for someone like me who doesn't understand any of that, so there isn't risk right now of water overflowing? It's
No,
stabilized.
I don't have, the only difference, the station is designed to run on a single pump.
Okay,
The station, by design, has 2 pumps in it, and they go back and forth, so the pump, if pump's needed, it'll run pump 1 right now. Then the next time it's needed, it'll switch to pump 2.
got it.
So that's where there's always a backup there, a backup system there.
Okay, so nothing, we'll call it emergent, where water's gonna be,
Correct.
Great, thank you.
And if something like that does happen, I have the opportunity, I can bypass the station to, if I need to.
Got it, okay. Great, thank you.
thank you for staying on top of that. So when did you find out?
I've been calling and just waiting, so
For the,
for quotes for the pumps and quotes for the station too. I mean, we were planning on doing some upgrades to the station already, and part of that was the control panel that we'd be getting into this year, so. Sooner than what I thought.
thank you very much. Recessing sewer meeting and reconvening township board meeting. Move to approve town fund bills for May 2026.
Motion?
Second.
Any question on those?
Supervisor Maslowski.
Yes.
Trustee Abihuber. Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yeah.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Move to approve road and bridge fund bills for May 2026.
Motion.
Second.
I have some comments on some of the bills. So it was my month to review them. The vast majority were fine.
Would you mind speaking louder, please?
Sorry. So in reviewing the monthly bills, for the road and bridge fund, most of the invoices were fine, well documented. There are a few that raise some questions. So I emailed Commissioner Corman. I understand he's on vacation. But hopefully we will have some response from him, I guess, later this week when he comes back. I'll just summarize the issues that I saw or the questions that I have. So the first one relates to a class that the commissioner has enrolled in at Kellogg School at Northwestern. So it is a course that costs $28,000. It is called AI and Digital Transformation. Questions that I have, first, it's a lot of money, $28,000. Mostly the questions I have are about the relevance to the road district. In reviewing the course description and the materials, it seemed to me that the course is very much geared toward for-profit entities, like executives, like CMOs and maybe chief revenue officers, that sort of thing. Or those sorts of people. So it's not really geared toward government and certainly, or not even nonprofits. So my question to the commissioner is, what's the relevance here? What are we hoping to gain from the $28,000? Personally, I can't in good conscience approve that. Given that it's a lot of money. Moving on, there were a couple of invoices, on the
Sorry,
floor
just to
page.
clarify, given that it's a lot of money with the relevant.
Well, a lot of money, relevance, and I guess the third issue that I would have is it's a huge time commitment. It's a 5 to 6 month class. Some of it's remote, some of it seems like there are a couple of intensive weeks on campus and everything. So again, I'm not in the business of managing other people's time, but it's like, it's a huge commitment. So those are the concerns that I raised. Hopefully, the commissioner can get back to us and sort of explain why this is necessary and, the benefit that, the road district might glean from this.
Yeah, I would just add, one, in many corporate settings, I can't tell you about government settings, but in many corporate settings where you have, we call it tuition reimbursement for employees, there are specific requirements in order to be able to achieve some sort of commission reimbursement. Some of them would be the time at the organization. Others would be maintaining grades. And then lastly would be certainly a business case as to how that will benefit the organization. None of this was discussed with us prior to any invoice. Not to mention, many organizations have policies around this. So I have some significant concerns there. I would also argue that this is not something the road district should pay for. The road district could, at its discretion, if they have a policy, create some sort of tuition reimbursement program to all road district employees if they choose to do so, to benefit the road district. But the road district paying for a commissioner to go to this class seems wildly inappropriate, number one. Number two, I would also argue that the commissioner, in theory, should be sending out employees to get this type of education if need be, because I would imagine the commissioner, what I would assume is if I bring this into corporate America, would be the CEO. You typically wouldn't have the CEO attending these classes. You would have mid-level managers attending these classes to execute on strategy, which then leads to my next point. What's the strategic direction here? What is this achieving? So, when I see something like this, I would have expected that to be discussed prior to some sort of invoice, which is quite concerning.
Well, the commissioner has not been at the town meeting or has not been in our meetings, not attended any board meetings since March. So, and I guess would not have had the opportunity to let the board know about his plans. I cannot I cannot vote for this particular line item payable because I struggle to see how $28,000 is serving the taxpayers who are paying for it. It lacks, in my mind, and based on the description of Trustee Spears of the course, it seems to lack any relevance to what a road district commissioner does on a day-to-day basis. There are plenty of free AI courses on LinkedIn, elsewhere, to watch and learn for the limited capacity that road district commissioner would need in his role. It is however, not our judgment. But we do need to know, as sponsors of road district bills, if we're spending $28,000 of taxpayer dollars. And of course, that seems to be personal enrichment course, with little to no benefit to the road district that we can see, that he would provide an explanation or attend the meeting and or respond to trustee Spears about why this course is needed and how it helps them be a better commissioner and how it serves the taxpayers of Northfield Township. In the absence of any of that, I don't see us being able to approve that session.
So just a couple of other notes. There is an online course called AI Transformation for Business Organizations. Again, road district isn't a business organization, but it's an online course. It costs $3,000. I mean, a chunk of change, but certainly not $28,000. So I gave that information to the commissioner, and, you know, again, maybe he can, hopefully he will get back to us sooner rather than later. I mean, timing is critical here because, couple of things. The course is scheduled to actually start in a couple of weeks, this month. And Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but this invoice was actually for kind of a down payment to hold your place. The invoice that he's asking us to approve is not the $28,000, it's the $5,100 to basically, you know, enroll. And if we don't move ahead and approve that, then we need to find a way to get that money back, right? Because I think it's already been debited.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, it went through the core pay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I would also say to trustee Spears, even that $3,000 online course, I question. I question that as well.
no, I mean, I talked to the admin, I wasn't able to talk to the professor, but the admin who is managing enrollment, you know, she said that typically the people who take this course are like, you know, head of analytics at, you know, a big insurance brokerage, you know, if not the chief marketing officer, you know, someone in that group. So, you know, again, it's just not aimed toward.
And this is
Nonprofit
the second
government
demo
entities.
course that he's taken. I believe he took one last summer. It wasn't as expensive. It was considerably less. And it was more on management. So, and he was able to explain it. And there was some relevance that we could see, but yeah, we have no explanation on this one. Sorry, Attorney Seckler.
Two things that I made, just from a legal perspective, you want to carry. On this particular bill, and I'm sure that there are a few others and go through. There are certain concerns that are raised that are perfectly legitimate and great concerns as taxpayers and board members and otherwise that should be raised and brought to the highway commissioner's attention, whether or not this is a good idea or bad. Of course, the board as auditors that we don't get into that. The core question here is whether or not this is for a public purpose, right? Because we start at the general law in the Illinois Constitution, state law, and general common sense is that public dollars can only be used for public purposes, right? And so you can't use road district or any governmental funds for your own personal enrichment if there's no public purpose. Of course, that could be a dual thing, right? You could do a course, you know, going to a TOI training course is beneficial to the individual officer, to the individual employee, that's great. But it also benefits the township or the benefits of the district because you're supposed to be learning something that you could then bring back to your role. This course, it was requested, more information was requested. The road district's attorney responded and didn't address this particular issue today. And therefore, we have no information about this course beyond what is publicly available, but trustee Spears was able to discover more of, which doesn't lend any evidence of this being a public purpose. And therefore I don't, is my opinion that the board does not have a sufficient legal authority, but sufficient documentation or evidence to approve this as a legitimate road district expense.
I would agree with that, and I would also add, you do mention that, you know, whether or not we have the ability to, determine why the commissioner does something for his, you know, for his strategy. I would mention that when you talk about TOI, you know, they have, I just pulled this up, July 9th, Northfield Inn in Springfield, AI and township government from 10 o'clock to 3 PM as from an educational standpoint. There is no reason in my mind that there would be no question in my mind if commissioner wanted to register for that, we would not be having this discussion.
I also happen to know that the Illinois Township Attorneys Association has had a seminar where we did that exact topic, which was also co-led by, the seminar itself was put on by the Road Districts Council. And there was an hour-long seminar presentation about AI and township and road district government, and it was really interesting.
Right.
So
So that's, I think that's my point, so.
But that's-
yeah, we're all saying the same thing.
it's not, but that's beyond the scope of the actual audit. That's just
Sure.
good, legitimate things to raise and concerns to provide.
Yeah.
But in terms of any postponement or rejection of any bill,
Yeah.
it goes down to the core function of, is this a legitimate expense? And at this point, the township doesn't have sufficient evidence to establish that it is. If the road, and I mean, we could, as much as you would maybe disagree with this course and the road district paying for it, if he were to provide evidence that it is somehow tied to a public purpose, it becomes less, you become significantly less able to, you know, do anything other than approve it.
What happens if it's a fig leaf public purpose on a personal enrichment course?
Well, that's something, it depends on what he actually provides, right? But
So unfortunately, one thing, and Attorney Secretary can speak more to that. We have 3 attorneys on this board. Trustee Spears, Trustee Pace, and myself. So we can.
Real estate agent.
It's fine, it's fine.
So we understand the law, and the limits of our authority. And unfortunately, it is my personal opinion that the law is written, with regards to road districts. It gives the board, very limited authority to do much about, things that the commissioner does that we may disapprove of. It is his judgment. And we can go through the rest of the bills. There's certainly ones that, in our capacity as auditors, we cannot approve because they seem to be either illegal or trying to get around the, law. And there are other ones that the question is, are these really the best expenditure of taxpayer dollars? And we can go through those as well. And I would like to put it on record that I personally would disagree that they are wise expenditure of taxpayer dollars. And I can just put that on the record and make the commissioner aware of it, but ultimately, he is a separate legal authority and he can do that.
I have a question regarding the timing of this. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but there also needs to be budget for expenses, is that correct?
Correct.
So if there is no budget for an expense and that expense is well above and beyond the budget amount, that also would be within the board's auditing.
Absolutely, yes.
So this expense falls in a fiscal year with a budget that has not yet been approved. does that relate to this at all in terms of the $28,000 expense, not knowing the budget line? We don't know what budget line it is within, but
We don't, but you, for this purpose, when you're in the first quarter and you're still kind of going off the old budget lines at this point until you adjust it.
if that old budget line, I don't know what it was, but say it was $5,000 and this
You should,
expense is $28,000, would that be?
it's another basis to disapprove.
Thank you.
On that one, and we'll go through some others, I'd recommend postponing, so pulling those from the current bill list approval and postponing to the next board meeting. Because it's not like we had the situation last time where we had to reject bills because they were clearly procured without legitimate bidding process and to bypass those processes. These, we don't have information, and therefore the board isn't at a position necessarily to reject or to not, or accept those because there's the lack of information or clarity.
Before we move on from the AI stuff, I just want to throw out two more things, and this is probably more of the, do I think it's good or bad, but I'm just gonna use the platform I have and talk a little bit. My current title right now is Chief Information Officer at a company that is rolling out AI into everything we do. We have spent zero on education. Everything you need to learn on AI is out there and it's free, and AI is moving so fast that if you're going at a course that was designed a month ago, it's already out of date. So to spend 28,000 or 3,000, both to me sounds kind of like, if someone at my company came and asked for this, I would be like, are you nuts? Like, why would you do that when all the information is out there? So I would ask that Commissioner Corman use the resources that are available for free instead of trying to, I don't know if there's some certificate this course offers. I mean, I don't feel like that benefits us taxpayers. And I'll also talk as the sole member of this board in unincorporated areas. This is another 28K from my roads. Like, I don't see the direct connection between this and plowing my roads, paving my roads. And, you know, it's like painting the parking lot at GBS. That didn't make my roads any better. That didn't plow my roads any better. So now it's that 25, here's another 28, that's 50. These are adding up. And these are real amounts that could be used to benefit the roads in our unincorporated areas in which I live. So as the unincorporated person, I would encourage Mike to just not do this. Use online resources that are available for free, learn everything you need to know, go to the course that Scott pulled up there. You know, that kind of stuff I'm on board with, but it just strikes me as a very unnecessary expense.
Agreed.
The only other concern was, it was mentioned that this was already paid for, or this was that.
It was, this is,
So this
basically
could
the
be-
first chunk to enroll in the course, yeah, 51, and it was,
But this is something, I think what you're referring to is core pay, which is this new system that we don't yet fully understand. So again, Commissioner Corman doesn't explain anything to us, he doesn't attend, and a lot of times we're in his absence when we try to ask the staff, they don't know either. But core pay apparently is and we end up having to go Google these just to
Yeah.
find out what it relates to. So core pay is apparently some sort of a payment system. And I if you don't mind, I'm gonna let Administrator Kirsty talk about that because she researched it.
And just from what I've looked online in San too, it looks like it's, you can use it for procurement and you get a card, and then they send you a statement, and once you approve the charges, then they ACH pay out to the vendors. So those all, well, that's the question. I don't know the approval process. So there was, I believe, in the bills of email asked from Dorothy at the road district asking the commissioner for if he approved the list of charges. He said approved. So I don't know the process of if that has already been approved and the money's already been taken out of this. So that's a question for the road district.
well,
The only thing I can see, because I know you reviewed it, is that, Dorothy at the road district is the booking, person there, the accountant, send an email to my attention, June first, Commissioner Corman had asked and said, attached is Corpay's June first statement, he approved payments of it. And he wrote, I approve. So that Corpay, those Corpay charges add up to 31,651.
So
So
just,
what I do not understand, and we tried to find out, but again, he's out of the country, what I do not understand is whether this is something that has been prepaid by the road district and is being now submitted to the township for payment, to the board for payment, which for approval, which would, seems like a circular.
so Corpay is a procurement and payment platform, and businesses usually use it because they don't want people, employees, having to carry around credit cards that have $35,000 limit and everything and that sort of thing. So it does consolidate and simplify payment. Now to this month, I think there were like 20 Corpay charges, as you said, they added up to 31,000. Most of them actually had detailed backup, so you can tell exactly what they were from. It isn't just the list and, the email, hey, do you approve? There is a lot of backup for most of them, the vast majority of them. Now, unfortunately, there are 4 charges for which there is no backup. And I highlighted those to the commissioner in my email. They total $2,100. Again, don't really know what they're for, how they're being used. There's like an Amtrak charge, like who went, on an Amtrak. I don't know. I mean, it could be legit, probably legit, but we just need backup. The fact is that the vast majority of the Corpay charges did have appropriate backup. These 4 did not. So I just asked them, hey, we need backup.
I think a larger issue though is that it is, correct me if I'm wrong, illegal for it to be paid without this board's approval.
Right, so I think the question that we're asking is, this core pay system, which is what I believe to be a procure-to-pay system, where a business invoices or an entity invoices the road district, and the road district looks at those invoices, the road district says approved. If the road district says approved, then is it paid? Or is it approved pending board approval? Because if it's approved and the board hasn't approved yet, I believe that would be against the law.
If it's paid and the board.
If the
That's
money
right.
has been sent.
If it has been paid
The only
prior to
person
approval.
That should be able to say approved and have the final disbursement would be the treasurer.
Right.
Who can only say that after the board approves.
Correct.
Because she has the bond to do that.
So we would be able to see if it's been paid or just approved, not paid.
So if Corpay pushed money to vendors already,
Exactly.
That would be.
then
That is.
That's a big problem.
okay, okay.
And then, so.
Because you're gonna not approve at least a couple of those charges.
Right.
Right, so we have not approved any of the telephone charges.
Right.
So
So-
this is basically going against the purpose of me as treasurer of the road district and the board's approval process for the
Well,
bills.
the
By
system,
getting paid, by paying his bills
Correct.
and then coming to us.
It would not be going against, it would be going against the law.
That, right, against our role as,
I would.
process-
It is actively circumventing the
Yeah.
law.
right.
Yes, it is a law related issue.
if that's how it's set up, we don't necessarily know, we're assuming. In general, if the program itself seems fine, so long as that final approval comes to the treasurer of the road district, to the supervisor. Then that's fine. If it's a consolidating bill program, that's not a big deal, but it's more, how is this set up? And that's the very, very large concern.
I'd just like to note related to this too, there have been previous incidents in the last month or two where the road district commissioner, the highway commissioner has had brought or had bills brought to this office to be signed before the bills went before the board. So this is not the first time where there was either a misunderstanding or intentional circumventing of the process. Obviously, we don't know whether it was intentional or not, but this is not the first time this has happened either.
I don't want to get So, are there, I'd love to hear the other charges.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to hear the other charges, but I think it'd be good to hear the other.
So it's, we've agreed that we need more information about the tuition. We need more backup on, for the core pay charges. The other ones that I would, that I raised concerns about, there is a $6,000 invoice from RC Bowman Architects for a building survey. I think this is for the Melvin Drive, facility. And the invoice states it's in support of a capital improvement plan. I think the commissioner has talked about, his goal of significantly rehabbing that facility. I guess my question to him is, I would love to see what that plan looks like, because we have a survey, we have $6,000 invoice for a survey. We have $14,000 for, an electrical work. We have, alarm services, another $14,000. So it seems like we're proceeding on some sort of capital improvement plan, and I don't think any of us have the right context for it. I mean, maybe I missed something, but I don't think he has submitted a plan, a vision, a timeline. Like, I guess I would compare it to what we did, with the food pantry. It's like, what's the plan? What is the expected total outlay? Who are the contractors? What's the goal here and the benefit? Because we're paying, tens of thousands of dollars to improve a facility, and I don't know what the end goal is.
Well, his proposed budget, included $1 million to rehab the building. So that's,
Okay, and we don't know if that's gonna come from a capital improvement campaign or whatever.
no, it's the active.
We have not heard back to
Okay.
the questions yet.
And that's fine, again, so this is all, sort of a piece, right? It's like, what's the plan? And that was my question to him. And then finally, there are, a couple of $1,000 charges. For the first time, the road district has elected to become a member of the Glenview and Northport Chambers of Commerce. For $800 and $900 a piece. Not all the money in the world, but it's the Chamber of Commerce, and we're not in the business of commerce. We're a governmental entity. So again, the question is what's the public purpose? And why now?
So,
Is it
I will just thank you for that, and I'm gonna mention a few things here because, as a treasurer, I obviously review these as well. And I'm just gonna focus mostly on the 4 pro charges that were submitted. There are certain things that I saw the bill. An invoice. And it doesn't say what it does or what it is for. It just has RSE Vision, some company in LA. Then we have Wisp Flow. I had no idea what that was. NFPA links. I didn't know what that was. SaneBox, which is an email filter. For $500, $499. And if I recall, he had another email filter. I forget the name.
Fixer.
Fixer, yes, that he paid for a few months ago. Then 99 Designs LLC. And apparently that's a full service brand pack for $4,499. Upwork. And so looking at all of these charges, I see the charges, I see the company name, I see the address. What I don't see is, what does Wisflow do? So for all of these charges, we actually have to go and Google them, spend the time to Google them to figure out what is Google Whisper? What is Wisflow? What is NFPA links? And these are all apparently various software. So Google Whisper AI VOI is a computer software, that does dictation. With,
Voice
there
to
was
text, yeah.
voice to text, yes. Paddle.net, he had that last year, it's renewed again, it's renewing under Mike at nadymike.com, which is his personal email address. And it is just, you know, night, the Upworks is $1,374. What is it for?
That's quite
Right.
concerning, because those
Computer
are
support.
resources.
Computer support and software. That's all, everything is computer support and software. To my knowledge, there are 3 people with computers at the road district.
I mean, just to synthesize
I
it,
don't understand, but
there's almost $5,000 of charges for computer services, software, various, just this month. Some of which appears to be duplicative, as the supervisor said, some of which is, you can figure out what they do, you know, because you can Google it and everything, but you can't figure out the benefit and why the platform was purchased. So again, you know, we all try different, you know, service providers and everything, but the duplication, you know, frankly, it just, which makes for a really incredibly complex IT environment to manage, in addition to being very expensive. So some of the core pay charges were like the Upward charge and the Intuit charge and everything. It's like, who's using this stuff and what is it used for?
and the Best Buy, which we had no receipt for, so we don't know what was purchased. for
Yeah, I mean, is he launching some sort of rebranding at the road district? I don't know. I mean, it's $5,000, a chunk of change, you know, for branding work. So there are a lot of questions. Hopefully we will hear from the commissioner. It's disappointing that we can't move forward with these requests because, you know, we're in the business of delivering public service, and this is sort of an impediment when you don't even know what the money is going for.
And I think there's a bigger kind of track record here of the bleed between his personal stuff and the road district stuff. I mean, his personal email coming up on one of these bills, even this month, shows that bleed is not fully stopped. So when we get a bill that just says Best Buy, and we have no other information, no receipt, no nothing, we can't make the determination that that's an appropriate public charge that should be paid for. So we have to, at a bare minimum, postpone until we can get that information. So I think for most of these things that we're describing that we can't understand what they are, we need more information before we can make a call on it, like Attorney Secretary was saying before.
And
Council, given where we are in the budget cycle, is there a way to call just a special budget meeting just for the road district to work through some of these things?
Of course.
Okay.
The one meeting that cannot move is the hearing and final meeting on the 22nd, and that, it has to be done before then.
The 22nd?
Correct.
Okay.
So that public meeting, that public hearing was in the newspaper 30 days in advance as required by law. So any kind of meeting that might be aligned with what you're proposing, we can certainly do. We need to post it with 2 days notice. It just has to happen before that final public hearing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be best.
I do want to make a note and go on record to say that this core pay, what we're referring to and what we've been referring to, and one of the questions that we have as to whether or not this has actually been paid out yet, or if it has not been paid out yet, just invoiced. The cover sheet here says Comdata Network Inc., Automated Clearinghouse, Daily Recap Sheet. And so typically, not always, but typically, when something is put through ACH, you know, that means that's an electronic funds transfer. So more than likely, just based on a cover sheet alone, this was transferred, so I don't know if county clerk, if you would have access to debit.
I have access, as the treasurer, I have access to the bank, you can go check that.
So we would want to see if $31,651.98 has been debited. On an invoice, on a date of 5/31/26, or a transaction date. So there's an invoice date of 5/31/26 and a transaction date of 6/1/26.
Which is the date that he approved. To,
Well, this is showing a transaction through an automated clearinghouse of $31,651.98.
6/1.
It doesn't say settlement on here, but based on my finance background, I would say it looks like this has been paid.
Yeah, I
Let me
mean-
jump in, if you look closely at the road district certificate payable,
thank you.
all of the core pay have a little star next to them. On the very bottom, it says EFT automatic withdrawal for pay on June 3rd.
Okay, so this has been paid.
Would you also, since you have, would you also go to, online, go to Pinterest account and see under, yeah, thank you. So while that's being looked at, I will go through a couple of things, several things that we don't have after trustee, Spears asked for specific information and we did not get information. So Amtrak, and that's for, a charge of, 237, we have no idea what that was for, where to, for what purpose. Best Buy for $386.05, no information on that. The Upwork, did we have a bill receipt for that?
We didn't have any information about what it was used for, just a. And that is 1,374. And then there is a Intuit QuickBooks charge of 204.
So the Intuit charge, apparently, the road district has decided to move from the accounting firm that we have been using together for years.
Mhm.
And I just found that out via email in response to yours, so this wasn't
Okay.
relayed to me before.
Okay,
And he was aware that when we went out to bid to get new accountants, he was aware that we were doing it together, and he was aware that the bid included his information and all the services that he needed. So apparently unilaterally, he decided to go with a different accounting firm. And they required that you use Intuit QuickBooks Online, so he bought that at their request. And he will no longer be using Lauterbag, he's using a different firm. Attorney Stickler expressed concern about that to his attorney, because unfortunately by law, so unfortunately just because of the nature of this relationship currently, our audits have to be done together. We cannot separate the audits. And before, since we had one accounting firm, the one accountant would be working with the auditors to get all the information, to get our audit done. So now we just have to hope that our audit process will not be delayed by the road district trying to work with a different accountant and have too many parties involved. So that's what that
okay.
Intuit QuickBooks.
So one of the charges that I'd never seen before is a new recurring monthly charge for, almost $2,000, $1,950 to a firm called Government Accounting. Is that the new
That's
accounting?
the one.
Okay. So they're the CPA and the financial planning service firm for, okay,
Again, we just found out because you emailed and the attorney responded, but that advice we did not know.
gotcha.
And there are other things that I saw, not just on core pay, but that I wanted to mention. Legiscan for $550 that apparently does online. Again, I had to search to see what this was, because all we get is an invoice with the name and the amount and the date. But it's basically a website that checks, it updates legislation, tracks legislation. Apparently it's tracking it for 2 states, which I do not understand why we need any state besides Illinois. And the township doesn't use this because we have Troy that updates us on all the legislation that happened in Illinois. We have NTA, we're a member of all these organizations that update us on any legislation that affects townships. So there are things that I'm going to mention here that I feel like they're either duplicative, unnecessary, wasteful expenditure of taxpayer dollars. However, we can't replace our judgment for his, but I am going to mention it for the record. Glenview Chamber, that membership, the township works closely because of the New Country, et cetera, Glenview Chamber. And we have a membership at them. We paid, so he would have been completely welcome to, he actually ran on the platform of having one township instead of a separate entity that does his own thing. But we have membership to Glenview Chamber, we have membership to Northfield Chamber. So he could have used those memberships and did not need to pay for platinum membership to those organizations. We also have Sonic Genius. We also have Constant Contact. These are all the things that the township already pays for that he could have benefited from, but in the past, he just has signed up for those separately and has been paying for those separately. In this bill, he also paid $159 for Zoom. Again, we have Google Meets, and they've never had to pay in all these years. The township has never had to pay for Zoom. So one question is the wisdom in paying for something that is unnecessary. He also paid $90 for Wise Stamp, which again, we have to look. Wise Stamp Pro is for electronic signatures. This is just to name a few things that are questionable, unfortunately, because of the limits of the law. While we can question it, and we can recommend to him, make suggestions, but that's all we can do. You have to approve it because as long as it's not illegal and as long as it's budgeted for, that's the limits of our audit and the votes. And thank you, Sam, for printing this. Regarding the Procore, it looks like there was a debit of $31,659.98 made on June 3rd.
So just to confirm, it was paid prior to approval.
So it's circumventing the road's responsibility, for the authority.
Attorney Sackler, is that legal?
No. What was the date that it was paid?
June 3rd,
And what was the amount?
$31,651.98.
Thank you.
So, I mean, it's troubling because more than troubling. I mean, because it looks like, an effort to circumvent the regulatory approval process. I mean, that is in place for some very good reasons, for the discussion we're having here and making sure that funds are used for a public purpose. So I guess that the larger issue is you know, core, you know, if core pay is used in this way, I mean, maybe we should find a way to eliminate that.
No, you can't eliminate someone for breaking the law.
Well, what I do have an issue, and Attorney Sidler could comment on this. As treasurer, I have to prove that opening a bank account, getting a credit card, I have to prove that. So he has circumvented my responsibility and authority as his treasurer by opening this account. I was not aware of it until I think, I forget when we first saw it mentioned, but it wasn't used, and,
The trustee Pace audited the bill where he saw a corporate pay invoice in your last audit, as well as the potentially duplicate charges that you questioned.
Right.
it
And,
wasn't
but-
nearly this much.
well, no, it was core pay, I think it was for the subscription to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, that's what it was.
Is for, Corpay is not tied to the bank. As you recall, there was discussion and then a process of sending a letter to the bank to provide a required approval. That's not what this is, right? So there was no attempt at approval for this.
Nothing.
I just don't know how Corpay has the authority to debit this bank account without your signature.
Well, core pay is by definition a procure to pay software, and
Right,
so it would be my assumption is that the person who signed the contract with Corpay would provide the
Bank.
bank account and credit card information and the approval to do that.
Do we need to put Corpay on notice if they're involved in actions that violate the law? Can you do that?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to know also that all of this costs the township money, because now, as much as we appreciate attorney Sackler, now we have to pay our attorney to pursue this.
Yes,
Right,
we also like two bills that we had to reject because they, again, he tried to circumvent, Mr. Brian tried to circumvent the legal process of how things are done. The attorney said we'll have to draft a letter to those, payees and explain, why their bill was being rejected.
Going back to those two bills, aren't they reflected this month in a way that
Yes,
that may
So
be
that's-
bid splitting, which again is illegal under the law, correct? Attorney Seckler?
Yes.
So for the benefit of anybody listening, court bid splitting is when you have a bid that's big enough to require the normal process for collecting bids. And instead of doing that process, you break the same thing down into smaller bids. Now, we can't tell
a smaller amount.
smaller
contracts,
amounts, yes.
So that you don't have
Don't
to go out
need
to
to do
bid.
the
It
bid.
was very full.
Yeah, so we can't tell this month, right, from what's in there, whether that's the case or not, because there's not enough specification.
So there's an electric, since you reviewed the bills, trustee Spears, yeah.
Yes.
There were two things that you brought up that we were concerned with about we rejected them last month because they
Yes,
did not go through the bid process.
I think that was the electric, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
So
and that had been split into. Is that right? No, that the alarm system had been split into two invoices, and then the electric charge, yes.
with the alarm system, I don't know if that was on, it's,
you want the bills?
on,
Do you want the bills?
I don't, that wasn't rejected, that was separate. So
There was a brief.
there's a roof issue and then, but the Soifer was explicitly rejected because it was for over $30,000 for a major electrical upgrade project that Commissioner Foreman had discussed as, what was it, in June of 2025? We had an inspection done that was going to happen in the future. And it's not an emergency, so the board rejected that invoice last month. Now the board is presented with a different Soifer electric invoice for, it seemed it was it is unclear as to whether this is a totally separate project somehow from the previously proposed project that was supposed to be bid out formally, or if this is just one phase of, or piece of that project. And this type of work is not exempt from bidding, as we previously discussed. So in order to, you can't divide out a project. The township, we're gonna talk about the project that has, to compare, that's a professional service contract, an actual one, where they're giving professional opinions and consulting, they're not doing construction. So it's different. So we're proving that disclosing the entire project is not subject to bidding. This is a construction project, right? So it's electrical work. So just taking, well, we're gonna do this part now because the entire project is over the bid threshold. And then we're just gonna immediately, when this is done, I presume, gonna proceed with the next part, which should be under, 30,000 as well. You can't do that, that's illegal. It's called bid split, so, or contract split.
And at this point, we really can't tell if that's being done or not, correct?
No, we can't,
Right.
and so then we've requested further information from the road district's council in that regard. For the specialty alarm, we don't know. I don't,
That,
I think that's, it wasn't, that was not rejected by the board
Right.
last time. I don't know if it was presented to the staff.
Okay,
and the alarm, I don't see the basis why you would deny it. I mean, it's $15,000 for an alarm system. But I think the basis for denying that.
so not to put you on the spot, but like, has there like been some sort of safety net or, issue?
Just since we're on specialty, they were doing two things. One, they put the alarm system in. And then they're doing the fire alarm. They're
Okay.
gonna redo the fire alarm, and with that, they needed drawings to submit to the village of Northfield for schematics of the fire alarm.
Okay,
So
Okay.
there's one, but I don't know which architect is drawing those up.
okay,
Going through there was a couple architectural drawings submitted for bills. And I don't know which one is for which.
okay. It looked like some of this stuff, the work from Sawyer had already been done, right?
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with the alarms, right? Sorry for.
No,
Sawyer, yes, different from, Sawyer is like moving fuse boxes and upgrading stuff and I thought, don't know, but I thought it was in connection with the eventual EV fleet, could be wrong, but it's like,
That's a multi-phase. For our electrical system that needs to be done, there is some electrical work that needs to be done right now. Down the road, there's for expansion, whatever, with other parts, but there is a section of stuff that needs to be.
like charging
That's
stations,
right, yeah.
things like, yeah.
Same
So
thing
that's
with
why I wanted a comprehensive plan that we can put all of this stuff in context.
I know one.
either way, it's at a base under level, you're not clear on whether the swiper charge this month is the same as what was last month.
Yeah.
I also wanted to just note for the record back to the court pay situation where, you could think generously that perhaps it was a misunderstanding of process and that, you know better, you do better. But Commissioner Corman has been told before that the board needs to approve payables before they're paid. So this is
Numerous
not,
times.
this is not a lack of understanding or awareness. I just want to make that very clear. This is not, it might be positioned that way, but there has been communications that the board must approve before supervisor motions out of consent checks. Just wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you. So your recommendation, Attorney Stickler, is to not approve bills that we don't have receipts for and
Correct.
can't verify their purpose and whether or not they were for road district.
Correct. I would,
That's Amtrak, Best Buy, and is it Upwork that we were not sure?
Yeah, I don't think I need detail what that was for.
Okay.
so I would recommend either postponing consideration, or removing them from the approve. Recommend moving to approve the road district bills, or amending the motion to approve the road district bills. Subtracting the following, it should be postponed for consideration until the next board meeting. The Kellogg tuition bill, Sawyer electric invoice, four paid charges, including the Best Buy charge for $386, Upwork for $1,374, Amtrak for $237, and for any more.
Are we, okay,
And then, depends on what you want to do with the specialty alarm. Let's see, 14. See,
so how would that have been paid?
what was the vendors?
Oh, yeah, what,
Specialty.
Oh, okay, what specialty? I see specialty alarm engineering with a payment of $8,821. That was what went for approval in the May board meeting.
All right, so maybe pull that so that we can get to the bottom of what's going on here. So everything I said before, include, and then in addition, the specialty alarm invoice, payment. And those-
and how are we gonna address the fact that, is that a separate thing that the,
The,
board's been?
yeah, the corporate.
Yeah,
Yes.
corporate is already been paid then,
Well, yeah, that
but
should,
not board approval.
correct. That is a separate matter.
Okay. I made a motion to approve road and bridge fund bills. Except for the following, which we're postponing consideration on until we have more information. Or we can approve. So for electric. Kellogg, management program. Specialty alarm engineering, there are two charges associated with that. Best Buy for $386.05. Amtrak for $237. I'm sorry, also Upwork in the amount of $1,374.99.
Just for the, sorry to nitpick, do we need to name the amounts of each of these for the record, or is naming the vendor sufficient? Some of the amounts were named and some weren't, so.
I think, it's up to the board. I think that's sufficient, given that, for the core pay ones, it was just to make sure it was clear with, some of them, I think, had
Multiple,
multiple of the same vendors, so.
great, thank you.
Motion,
Second.
And Supervisor Rosenzander?
Yes.
Trustee Ottenberg?
yes.
Trustee Pace?
Yes.
Trustee Spears?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I would just like to add before we move from the road district that, in the past, when the commissioner would attend meetings, we would, either call him at that time and ask our questions, or he would ask the questions at the meeting. He objected to that because he thought we did not have the information at hand at the meeting, and he asked for us to put it in writing ahead of time. So that's what we have done. And the response we get back has generally been incomplete. Or some of the questions haven't even been answered at all. In Commissioner Corman's, Road District Council's email today, he said that the commissioner would like us to follow the process. And I'm going to read that the bill audit process is not a mechanism for the township board to direct road district operations or substitute its judgment for the commissioner's judgment on matters committed to his office. Whether the road district agrees, whether the board agrees with the wisdom, prudent timing, or strategic desirability of the road district expenditure is not an audit defect. And he would, like the process going forward, that as has been communicated previously, and I quote, the commissioner remains open to input, feedback, and constructive dialogue with the township board on operational matters, best practices, and opportunities for improved cooperation. Those discussions, however, should occur outside the bill audit process. The audit process is designed to determine whether specific claims are lawful, supported, budgeted, and payable. It is not the appropriate forum for broader policy planning or operational disagreements. For the reason, we reiterate our prior request that the township and roads establish an agreed process for invoice questions going forward. Last minute written inquiries shortly before a board meeting create operational issues, impede orderly review, and may result in delayed payments, late fees, penalties, service interruptions, or unnecessary vendor relation issues. A defined process would better allow the road district to provide complete information, better allow the board to carry out its audit function, and help avoid the appearance that routine invoice review is being used as a forum for broader political or policy disputes, particularly in light of the pending consolidation referendum. So I read that because I was incredibly offended by what was said. And also, on behalf of the board, I was offended. And also, we are doing exactly what the road district commissioner asked us to do. He asked that we email our questions to him before a board meeting so that he can have time to ponder and provide a response. We received his bills on Friday. This is last Friday, June, right before June 5th. Trustee Spears reviewed them and sent his questions to him on Saturday, per his required process. So I don't know what more we could do. We don't have a crystal ball to imagine what his bills are going to be and prepare our questions ahead of time and send it to him so that we're not inconveniencing him. We are following his requested process. As soon as we receive the bills from the road district, we review them and we email them our questions. So I take issue with that. And
May I just mention?
yes,
I agree with that. And the whole intent, which I think we've talked publicly about this, is we want to give them a heads up of our questions. Because we don't want any quote gotchas, right? Or to make it sound like we're trying to back somebody into a corner. We want to give the commissioner an opportunity to review the questions, prepare an answer for us in writing, and then also in the meeting, so we can get to a resolution. The whole intent of this has been to be collaborative, not combative. And so I am disappointed with that email.
and I take our role seriously as auditors, and I want us to make sure that we're protecting taxpayers, that the expenditures are legal, and within his authority. And it is a courtesy that we send him the questions in advance. We never had to do that before. We've been doing this for 6 years as a board. We've never sent questions in advance. We've never had these issues. The previous commissioners that attended the meetings, and if the board has that question, the question has been asked at the meeting and answered. We are going above and beyond to accommodate commissioner by sending the questions in advance. As soon as he gives us the table, so we know what questions we need to ask, what we have in front of us. And, not only has he failed to answer them properly, but he still takes issue with the process that he requested. Just wanted to put that on the record. Okay. Moving on. Motion to approve engagement with a roofing consultant to complete a survey of the township building roof at 2550 Waukegan Road, Glenview, and produce a report and authorize supervisor to enter into a contract with architectural consulting group, ACG, for this work, with the contract amount not to exceed $3,475.
Motion.
Second.
So the purpose of this, we know that the roof is original. We are, we got 3 quotes for this work, and we went at the lowest, quote amount, which was $3,475, for the firm to review our roof and give us an idea of, how much time we have left on the life of the roof, when we need to plan to replace the roof, because it's a large amount, to replace the roof. And, so this would be the first phase of this work. If the roof does need to be replaced within a year, then this company also provides additional service, which is to provide, prepare bid documents so that we can go out to bid for the work. That is a separate charge. We're not approving that since we don't even know what we're doing that service. Right now, we're just having experts review our roof and give us their professional advice as to what needs to be done going forward, but how we need to plan for this expenditure.
I just want to reiterate what Attorney Seckler also noted earlier, which is that this is professional services. And so it is within your absolute right to engage in this contract if the board approves without going out to bid for it. It's also under that amount, but professional services is different from construction.
And
Make that clear.
additionally, again, best practices. We did get 3 quotes. Correct. Oh, 5 quotes, I'm sorry, 5 quotes. And we're going with this company, so.
To be clear, this company is giving consulting services. They aren't even, they're not doing architecture. They aren't doing land survey. So not under the, if you recall, when we did the food the pantry build up, you have to go and bid for architects because special statute about those types of professional services. This doesn't fall under that. So even if it were to be on over the bid amount threshold, they aren't doing the construction work. This is consulting. It is pure professional service. This is the difference with what those types of contracts are.
So I will go on record and say, thank you to the supervisor for your transparency and fiscal responsibility.
Appreciate it.
I'll just add, we're lucky to have Attorney Seckler first and Supervisor Morrison's added, with the second layer of legal review to be, as we always do, well before this time. We always take care of those things.
Yes, I'd like to thank Attorney Seckler as well.
And
I gotta go around the table, Scott.
Roll call, please. So are there any questions?
I didn't get anything from trustee Member.
Trustee Adams, I'm hungry. Motion?
Second, can we do that right?
Thank you.
Supervisor Moses Adams.
Yes,
Trustee Allen.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Approve the posting and distribution of a request for bids for construction and retaining walls and ramp on the west side of the township building at 2550 Waukegan Road, Glenview.
Motion.
Second.
So this is, as you know, our retaining wall is,
We don't have all the, I was reading our post, we did not postpone this.
Okay. We're gonna postpone because we were hoping to get it. from, we did not. So motion to postpone the approving of, posting and distribution of road cut permits for construction under retaining walls and ramp on the west side of the township building at 25 Waukegan Road.
Motion.
Second.
Supervisor Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheimer. Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Need a motion to approve giving the supervisor authority to implement staff salary pay increases in accordance with the township policies and applicable law.
Motion.
Second.
It's that time of the year when we schedule, employee reviews. We have budgeted that in our budget, which we haven't approved yet, some pay rises, and there will probably be some salary adjustments for some of our employees, considering the inflation. And the fact that we have several employees who makes a little, it needs to be, without going into too much detail. And we are potentially promoting one employee to serve as director of our department. And with that director, with increased responsibility and supervision of another employee, and with that director title and responsibility, we need to do a salary adjustment. And also accordingly, salary adjustment for a certain other employee. Do I need to provide
Or
the board meeting additional information on this?
says the board knows the township employees, everyone except for general assistance is under the board's technical, review and supervision. Obviously, the board's not here every day to day to day. So most often, as it's been done in years past, it delegates that authority to the supervisor to make those individual determinations, especially within the board sets the budget. And,
No questions. We reviewed the budget in detail and at length. The budget seems to be in line, salary seems to be in line with what I would certainly expect in this climate. And so I would defer to your judgment there as to how to best allocate.
Thank you.
I would just like to note that we are privileged to have such a hardworking staff. And keep your pay, an appropriate scale is not only the right thing to do. It's warranted by your work, so thank you.
Yes, they are in the front lines of providing important services. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Any matters to be presented by the public?
This is public comment.
Yes.
I'd like to say something.
You're just gonna introduce yourself, please. Thank you.
My name is Debbie Burton, TAAR, as I love you. And I was on a public board for a pretty long time, and I really appreciate listening to all of you about today. I was Googling while you were talking about impeachment, and it doesn't look like we are able to impeach the road commissioner. That's just my own red shooting, just listening. But I can't, I want to thank you personally as a taxpayer and somebody who has sat in a similar position. I do appreciate looking out for the taxpayers. I am one of them, and I think it's very important that there be oversight in government. And I have heard some things that were very, very concerning to me. And so thank you for doing what you're doing. I also would encourage you to get as much information out
to residents. I don't know if you released this video, and, we need to know what is going on in our government, and so transparency is the best, thing that we can get, whether people take that time to get involved. This is really important, I think, and I hope and know just from my experience with taxpayers, they like to know what's going on. So please, please, please get the word out and, continue to do what you're doing because it's very necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? No. Okay. I don't have any old business. Oh, just that we have, I hope to see a lot of you at Summerfest. I'm not going to do this down to us Thursdays behind, but, new business. Is that a section is not here, but, information update on behalf of the assessor.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Here it is, that's not,
Okay, thank you so much. And it's just, maybe do that. It's from assessor, and I should apologize for not being here, of course. So I'll just read this off.
I believe you have the new grandchild.
Yes, she does. I'll just read it off real quickly because it's just about the numbers and what we've done for the past year in the triennial. So the results are here for the appeals made from the Cook County Assessor's Office and the Cook County Board of Review for the 2025 triennial reassessment that are complete. And attached is the numbers and the data to look at your leisure, of course, but whatever. And then a summary of the 2025 appeal results. We assisted a record number of residents in 2025, a total of 2,521, a 44% increase from 2022. We estimate total tax savings to residents is $570,000, $570,170. The Cook County Assessors round, we filed 878 appeals with a success rate of 22%. The Board of Review round, we filed 698 appeals with a success rate of 70%. We have processed 260 exemption applications for 2026. And we expect the first round of 2026 assessors appeal to open in late June or early July. We are planning on about 40% activity volume from the 2025 round of appeals. And we are ready, okay? She's always ready. It appears the second installment bill, Gail's mentioned that it's gonna be, we didn't know, but she's means something article with Gail, maybe, that I said 2 months, that the tax bill would be late. Refunds for missing exemptions, certificates of error, overpayments going back to 2024 continue to be delayed. Right? It's crazy, but it is what it is. With the Cook County Treasurer's Office, some progress has been made. They're doing some kind of system that's added to the one that's already there. But the majority are some progress has been made, but the majority are still awaiting processing. Attached is the historical property sale tax, which is really interesting from Treasurer Pappas. I'm just going to quickly mention that what it's about. It's a government's foreclosure. When governments foreclose on property for updated taxes, maybe some of you have heard about it or not, but when the government forecloses on property for unpaid taxes and equity, any equity above the debt owed must be returned to the property owner, which is very nice. That's just a short something I highlighted to just get you started reading it maybe tonight or something. But after the sixth sale expected to occur in 2030, tax buying will no longer be allowed in Cook County. Instead, the county will hold all the liens for overdue property taxes. And if the property owner doesn't pay what's owed within 1 to 3 years, 1 to 1 to 3 years, I'm sorry, the county can auction off the property's deed to the highest bidder. And it's just a short little excerpt from that, but just to keep it short and brief for you. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Foreman is not here, so we move on to administrator. Sorry, wow, I'm sorry. You have an update, great, thank you.
Just a bit, since Mike's not here. The Northwest flooding project is over halfway through right now. They've already gone through citation lake. We're almost down to, we're down technique. Almost getting ready to cut into Northwest with the new system. With that being said, first installment is going to be coming up for our IGA agreement with the MWRD for reimbursement. And it will be 7 figures. First bill. Just so I'm giving you a heads up.
Thank you.
So you're not-
Really appreciate it,
So you're not
really appreciate it.
nervous when I come over with the bill and say, okay, good.
When you say coming up in weeks, months,
This month.
so for the July meeting,
Yeah,
maybe, okay. Just to. Not to beat a dead horse, but it can't be paid between meetings.
so
You're
I
trying,
was just trying
Yeah.
to make sure that we keep, because we get reimbursed for this,
100%.
or 100% from the MWRD.
Yeah.
So we just want to keep the,
Well, I don't
the
know,
windmill going.
so I don't know if they're able to. Adjust the timing such that it arrives before a board meeting instead of like the day after, in which case they would have to wait a month and that wouldn't be good, so I don't know if they would let you know our board meeting schedule. Happy to.
So,
Okay.
but we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Like at the same token. MWRD.
Yeah.
Won't reimburse us.
Yeah.
Until that check has been cashed.
Which check?
The check that we approved.
We approve.
Yeah.
I see, okay. So, yeah,
Part of the IGA. I mean, this is all.
sure, makes sense.
Yep,
I
this
just
is
wanna,
all,
if there's a
yeah.
way that they want, if it's helpful to them to know our meeting schedule so that they don't miss the rhythm. Okay.
That's all I got.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for your update. Okay, Administrator Kirsten.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple things I want to mention. Our June staff meeting next week, we're gonna have, a representative from Great Lakes ADA training out of UIC come and do ADA and disability awareness training with the staff. 4 o'clock next Wednesday. If anyone is interested, you're welcome to attend, as well. We had a site visit from our Cedar rep this week. He popped in to check in with, Hilda and Lisbeth and, commented that we're one of his best sites. And also we've exceeded our goal for intakes, which is great. And that just really is a testament to Hilda being on top of everything and super organized, and she and Joe and Lisbeth really following up, making sure people have their documents, know what they need to bring with them when they come for their appointments, and working really hard with CETA to make sure everyone gets approved. And there have been some hiccups in the grant amounts that have been coming back to applicants. So it hasn't been the best, and it's a lot of explaining why the grant amounts are a lot lower than what people expect. But CETA is very happy with the work that we're doing, and I think that just says a lot for how Hilda and Elizabeth and Joe are working on and doing that work. Along the lines of inspections, we've been notified that July 7th, a representative from the Office of Acceptance Facility Oversight for the Department of State will be coming out to do an inspection about our passport services. So Nana is, we're meeting, we already met once, and we'll meet again to make sure we have everything. I don't have any problems. Nana's gotten this very well organized, taken what we had in place previously and has just improved it. So I'm not concerned about that inspection at all. And then I just want to mention that this week and last week, Lisbeth, and then one day with Roxy, went out and visited some new facilities. Elizabeth went to the Deerfield Supportive Living Facility that just opened at 111 Lake Cook Road, and it provides living accommodations for seniors on lower income, but also provides a variety of services from meals, some nursing care, salon, hair salon, other services, but it's just another option available for housing. I think they have 147 apartments right now. They only have studios available. And then Roxy and Elizabeth went and toured Orchard Village at one of their homes in Glenview. So that was a really good program for the two of them to learn more about.
Yeah. Delegation and outreach coordinator.
Thank you, Supervisor. Good evening, everybody. I just want to recap. We did 3 events last week that were all pretty successful and exciting. So I want to talk about those briefly. On Tuesday night, we hosted the Glenview Chamber of Commerce's Young Professionals Group. They are a really nice group and they do a wonderful food drive for the food pantry every August and September. So we wanted to show the membership a little bit, give them a tour of the new and the old spaces, talking about the great work they do and how much it does impact clients. So that was, that went really well. There was some really good discussions. The people who attended were very interested in learning about us and our client base and our operations. So that was very exciting, and we're going to be gearing up for that bigger food drive in August and September. Like I mentioned, there'll be donation barrels all over businesses in Glenview. So we're really thankful for that. The Wednesday of last week, we had hosted an event with the Cook County Sheriff's Office, which Commander Bushing was happy to attend. Thank you. And it was geared towards families at Salem Walk in the unincorporated areas of Northbrook to try to let them know about township services, play games, have fun. We did one last fall and it went over quite well. And this year the attendance was not as high up. So we're thinking about different ways to improve that, or just, it was still a really nice event. We had a few families drop in, but different ways we can improve upon that. Might have been a timing issue this time of year.
Yeah, it's for last day of the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last event from last week was Flamingo Friday in Northbrook, which is kind of like Northbrook's resident open house a little bit, but encourages people to come out, learn about all the different resources available within Northbrook. I had a great time there. It's usually a great event to go to. I think I gave away like 100 chip clips. I must have talked to like 100 people. It was wonderful. It was, like I said, very well attended. They're so great too. They also host a small food drive for us. So I collected a bit of food while I was there for a few hours. It was a great event. I will say that one of the most frequent questions I got that evening was about the road district recycling brochure. And I'm not certified to email you or Commissioner Wally if that brochure is out there or available. I don't have any copies. They're not doing one this year, or? Okay, I'll try to email Commissioner and see. Supervisor mentioned Summerfest is coming up this week for Glenview. So that's a really big event that we get to attend. The daytime portion is from 9 to 3. We'll be out there. It's an informational kind of street fair, lots of fun stuff being handed out, and activities for kids and music and food. So we'll be doing that. And then we're very fortunate that the food pantry through the Glenview Chamber of Commerce is the beneficiary of the evening portion of that event called Summerfest After Sunset. So we'll be there from about 6 to 10 in exchange for, we'll check anyone who wants to drink alcohol. We check their ID, we provide them with a wristband on them, and then we're able to ask them if they want to contribute an optional $10 door donation for the food pantry. So that's it's quite a nice day for us. Last year we made $1,700 in just a few hours standing up there doing that. So it's very positive. Looking forward to that. But if anybody wants to help out with Summerfest daytime, I know Alita is working the middle of the day. Kurt Fleegler is going to help in the morning, so there is some availability for if anybody's able to step in and help fill some of those roles. I'll send out an email as a reminder. And then I'm sorry, one last thing. Our summer intern started yesterday. His name is Caden Hunter. He's a very nice young gentleman who studied at Kansas first. He studied journalism and communications at Northeastern University. So he finished his degree back up here, and he was recommended to us by one of our staff members, Joe. So it's been 2 days, but he's been great so far. So I'm encouraged. Thank
You
you.
want to explain briefly the process of interviewing the interns and how many applicants we have?
Sure. So normally we have a really nice township partnership with Oakton College. So I really I work closely with their internship department there. They have 2 specialists who help me find it. And usually we try to, our intern last year came from Oakton. This year I did not find a good fit through them. So that was a little bit unfortunate. So then I could put out a wider call. And I received the most applications I've ever received before. I think I interviewed 6 applicants. And more than half of those had already graduated college. So that was a little bit, as our intern this year too has already graduated Caden. So it was eye-opening for sure that these are incredibly bright, educated students coming back and looking to get their foot in the door with internships post-college. So that was sort of eye-opening. I wish I could, if I had them all, they'd all be wonderful. They were all wonderful. So it was very tough to make the choice this year.
The job market right now is extremely difficult for everyone, including college students trying to find internships because it's all being pushed down, so. Also relates to our services and the importance of our services right now, for sure. Really difficult.
Thank you all very much. Any of those in favor?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, meeting adjourns at 7:40.